Okay, mute.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome once again to Ultimate E's Gran Turismo series. Today we are running the Ford versus Ferrari Tribute Championship. We start in Laguna Seca today. Our next circuit after this will be Monza. So we go from Laguna to Monza all in the same day within a few minutes. And then ultimately we end up at Le Mans. We are paying tribute to these two manufacturers who we all saw in a movie quite recently. And it kind of gave us an idea of the kind of rivalry Ford and Ferrari had back in the day. You don't see that these days. And we decided it's a good time to pay tribute to them. With me in the commentary box, I've got Anandit ready. Anandit, hello.
Hi Aditya, how are you doing this evening?
Good, good. How are you? Good to be back in the commentary box. I think you joined us once before, didn't you?
No, actually first time.
It was Ishan, sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Good to have you here. Then I'm sure you'll enjoy it and have a good time. But
Yeah.
yeah, let me run you all through the drivers we've got here. It looks like we've got a pit lane glitch, but we will sort that out. So the drivers for the Ultimate E Ford versus Ferrari tribute are Ancient Pleb, Aditya Raghav. We've been seeing him multiple times in the past, actually, and we do expect some good stuff from him. The drivers are divided into Ford team and the team Ford and team Ferrari. Aditya Raghav is driving for team Ford. He is joined by Pradyumna Prakash, Shamim Fahat. We've seen both of them race before in team Ford. We've seen both of them race before, and now they are teams with Ford. And one of their main competitors, Ravi Kiran Visa, he's driving for Ferrari. So the grid goes like the order of drivers go like this. For Ford, we have Aditya Raghav, Shamim Fahat, we have Kunal Vinod, we have Ranveer, who's joining us for the first time this week, Vishnu, who's also joining us for the first time, and Pradyumna Prakash, who is one of our more experienced drivers and has been with us multiple times over the last few championships. For Ferrari, we have Ravi Kiran Visa leading the team. With him, he's got Ankur. He's also got Dan Lord. We're looking forward to seeing how Dan Lord does. He did struggle a little bit in the qualifiers, but he's made it here today. So looking forward to that. And Big Boss, who is from Sri Lanka. So we've got a Sri Lankan driver over here, Jayawardena. So let's see how he does. And Pratik Benya. Pratik has also been a regular with us. So we're looking forward to seeing Pratik show us some action. He's had his ups, he's had his downs, but we've seen some good results from him. So let's see how it goes. Now, qualifying is going to be underway very, very soon once all the drivers are back in the lobby. But we are at Laguna Seca. Maybe Anand, you can tell us what are your thoughts on this circuit? I'm pretty sure it's one of those circuits growing up that you and I and all of us have watched races on. But you have driven there, haven't you?
No, I actually haven't, but I have to say it is one of my absolute favorite circuits. Watching races there right from Mazda Cup, which is the Miata Cup, to much faster racing as well. And yeah, just watching practice here, I think the fight for second and third might be quite interesting because first place seems to have been already bagged by Aditya.
Yeah, he is pretty quick in practice. He's flying. What is he like? Half a second quicker than anyone else. It was second, I think, Pradyumna, but Pradyumna doesn't make it
Yeah.
easy for anyone. So we know he can be pretty quick. But you have to remember the reverse grid order. Basically, your first race results reverse grid order. They go into Monza,
Right.
and the person who finishes last now starts on pole position in Monza. So it's going to be interesting to see actually what the Ferraris can do in Monza. We're already seeing them struggling over here. So I think they're all really relying on Italian home ground for some performance there.
Yeah, it should be interesting. The Ferraris do have a higher top speed, don't they?
I think they do in this game, yeah. That's what people said. In fact, we were quite worried when we were putting this championship together that people would struggle with the Ford actually, and that the Ferrari is quick. But we're seeing here that the Ford is ridiculously quick. And we didn't expect it. So if you look at the Ford, it just looks like the good old GT40. You can't expect it to match the 458 GT3 that we've got here, but it's killing it.
Yeah, it's interesting to see these two cars go against each other, and I have to say the format is really interesting too this weekend.
Yeah, it was just middle of the week. We were trying to figure out what we can do to do something different because we've noticed that in this particular game, everybody seems to come back with those Japanese cars. No matter what you do, you've got everybody driving the Nissan GTR. I just don't know why, and maybe one or two guys in the Supra. So it's good to see them all in something else, and good to see them actually learn. And what we did different this time is we left tuning open, which means they
Oh,
can, they
interesting.
can, yeah. And
Yeah,
working
yeah,
as
yeah.
two teams, it makes it interesting because then a lot of them have been googling setups today. But I'm sure if you were driving, you'd actually be sitting and trying it practically.
I don't know about that, but yeah, the few races I did earlier, I was looking at setup, and there's a whole bunch of stuff on YouTube to, probably more
Yeah,
setup than
setup.
we have in real GT3 cars.
Actually, yeah, I know. The setup driving tutorials. Those driving tutorials are nuts. I was watching some of them, and it's
Yeah,
such a different driving style, this particular game, because these guys put so much lock. I can't
yeah.
imagine putting that much lock in an actual car.
Yeah,
So,
definitely not on power at least.
yeah, but we see that difference in gamers between a game like Gran Turismo and a game like iRacing. We've been seeing a lot of race drivers who prefer something like iRacing over Gran Turismo because they just can't get to grips with this particular game. But a lot of gamers rather drive, like just gamers, they'd rather drive Gran Turismo. And I guess it's just their comfort level.
Yeah, I've heard that too, but I've actually never raced iRacing. So, Vishnu Prasad has been telling me to get a iRacing setup, and it's something I think I should look into.
I know I'm on the same boat. All these guys have been telling me to get an iRacing setup. These guys are doing Spa 24 hours next week. So after they
Oh,
did Lemmo, they've been like, "Why don't you also join the team?" I don't know. They're all stuck here without any equipment, anyways. But actually, come, let's do it. We should do Spa 24 next week. Get a
yeah,
PC and let's get on the grid
yeah. I actually need to buy a new simulator, so maybe not next week, but I'm sure I'll join you guys soon.
soon. Soon, yeah. Actually, I'm trying hard to get on the grid next week, but iRacing has its own. Licensing system and things like that. But it looks like these guys are back on the track now. Just waiting for everyone to join this lobby. There's probably one guy less. Not sure who it is. Wait for them to join in. But until then, ladies and gentlemen, as soon as we're on track, we will be back with.
Okay, I'm muted.
And we're back live, ladies and gentlemen. We seem to have lost a couple of drivers because of internet connectivity issues, but we are watching our boys go around in the qualifying session. We're watching right now, following Aditya Raghav, who we know is super, super quick. He's in the Ford GT. And right behind him is Shamim. So they're all working as a team, which is going to be interesting to watch. Oops, we see him go straight off over there. Probably got a phone call or something. But once again, with me in the commentary box, I've got Anandit Reddy giving me company today. And we're going to definitely take you through some interesting races here. Like I said before, if you are just joining us now, just to run you through it, this is the Ford versus Ferrari tribute. Today we're running at Laguna Seca, and soon after this we'll be at Monza. So right now Ford is in Ford territory. Soon after this we're going to be going to Monza, which is Ferrari territory. Monza is going to be a reverse grid, which means that the winner of the first race in Laguna Seca will start last in Monza, and the driver who finishes last in Laguna Seca will start on pole position Monza. And then tomorrow we end the championship with a showdown at Le Mans, which will be a 40-minute race and not a 9-lap race like the first two races. So it's going to be an interesting series, this one. It's the first time we're trying something of this sort, which is a theme, and we're all really looking forward to it. But Anandit, tell us, do you know any of these drivers? Have you had the opportunity to race against them in the GT lobby even?
Yeah, actually, I've raced against some of them. I raced against Ravi. I've raced against Prads. I raced against a couple of them early in the lockdown, and yeah, it should be interesting to see how far they've come.
Who you got your money on?
I think it'd be hard to put my money on anyone but Aditya. He's been about 1 second faster in practice, and that's not a couple tenths that can be picked up very easily.
That is true, actually. The Fords have been super quick on this circuit. And from what I've heard from the drivers, actually, they've all been talking about how the Ford is quite stable and the Ferrari is quite twitchy. And on a circuit like Laguna Seca, the last thing you need is a twitchy car because you're always just going from corner to corner. There's a lot of elevation change. That's Pratik Benya, who's currently on pole position going for a wild ride.
Yeah,
Ended up in the
that's
wall there.
that's quite crazy.
But yeah, let's see how long he can hold on to his pole position. But all the quick times actually in this game come in quite later on, because these guys they're starting to bleed off their fuel, starting to burn their fuel, and then in the end, with about 3 minutes to go, is when you usually see them do a pit stop, change to fresh tires, and then come out again on a light load to set that lap time. So basically, what you see guys like Ravi doing right now is just burning fuel. They're not really pushing hard for a time. But we just saw Shamim coming out of the pits, and I've noticed Shamim do this before. He's always one of the early guys to stop in qualifying and then come out and do a bunch of laps. So he always has that interesting strategy, and he's parked on the side. He's waiting for somebody. Not sure who. But yeah, right now, just to run you through the order, we've got Ravi in pole position, followed by Pratik in second, Prads in third, which means right now it's two Ferraris on top. But yeah, we still got 4.5 minutes left in this session, and it's all going to change in the end. In fourth place, Abhay Thakur. In fifth place, we've got the wildest monk Ankur. Sixth is Kunal. Where's Aditya Raghav? I don't see him anywhere. It's not showing up on the screen. Seems to have disappeared, actually. Not sure where he is. It's going to be interesting because if he seems to be having some trouble, not sure what it is. I wonder if he will join this race or start. He seems to have gone out of the lobby. Yeah, it's only 9 guys left out of the 12 because 3 of them seem to have some trouble.
Looks like Ferrari is doing pretty well with the top 3 cars being Ferraris.
Yeah, Ferrari is doing well. We didn't expect that, did we? We saw Ford's doing really well in practice. And now in qualifying, the Ferraris are flying. But they're still in the 22s, though. We saw Aditya Raghav and Pratik Pradyumna drop down. Pradyumna was 21s, Aditya was 20s. But able to figure out what's wrong with him. He's trying to get into the lobby right now. But yeah, that's Gran Turismo for you. Every now and then we face those troubles, but it always gives us some really good racing.
I guess it'll all come down to the last I guess it'll all come
Yeah.
down to the last couple seconds. And since it's a team type event, maybe they're gonna help each other with some slipstreams and put in some really fast times.
Yeah, I think so. But we're now looking at the Ferraris just dominate this session, though. They're all the Ferraris on top. Waiting for Pradyumna to do something to see whether he can bring that Ford up there. But in the meantime, Ankur is diving into the pit. Like I said, in the last 3 minutes, you're going to see a bunch of guys dive into the pit to try and get those times on fresh tires and a light fuel load. That's when things will change. But it's unfortunate that Aditya Raghav has some issues right now. Hopefully, he will be back in this session. But let's see, keep our fingers crossed. Watching them go through the corkscrew. It's a great corner and everything, but to be honest, I really hate it too. Remember, we did a session once together. Was it on Laguna?
I do
in GT?
remember.
Oh,
It's
it's a nightmare.
it's super exciting when you get it right. It's a major sense of accomplishment when you get it right, but until then, it can be frustrating.
Yeah, but I can imagine in real life it'll be phenomenal because of the change in elevation, right? Because you're going into the
Yeah.
corner and you just drop. But in the game, it's just like you don't feel that, and it just doesn't give you the same rush. Okay, fine, you're approaching this corner going uphill, and then it just disappears in front of you. But more than that, you don't really feel it. And once you're used to getting elevation changes in real life and you don't get it in the game, it's just quite disappointing. But while we speak, we've seen Shamim just jump into pole position by 1.1 seconds. So he is flying, and we're seeing the pace of the Ford now really showing its true self.
Yeah, maybe he had something planned, like you said. We saw him waiting on the side of the track, and oh, there he goes,
Oh, he's
spinning
got
and
first
into the
spin.
wall. Not into the wall, but big spin.
Big spin for him. Let's see if Pradyumna can do anything, though. He's stuck in sixth place. But we've seen how quick he can be. He was quicker than Shamim in practice, but we don't have much time left. There's only how many minutes left now? There's a minute left, and then after that, there'll be the time till the end of the session, which will probably give everyone that lap that they're on. Yeah, watching Pradyumna here still stuck in sixth place. He seems to be struggling in this session. Not sure what's up with him because, like we said, the Fords are very quick. They've got a lot of grip, and hopefully he can pull it all together. And what's interesting this time as well is we give drivers a couple of points for liveries. So the drivers who have the best liveries in the end of the championship, they do get 2 points. You never know. You probably see a winner of the championship just because of his livery. But it just makes it all the more interesting in this game. It's got a great livery editor, and some of us are good at it. Some of us are not so good at it. But
Yeah, I'm
you
the
see
not
that.
so good at it.
Yeah, same here. I just can't get my head around that livery editor. But some of these guys are superb. You see the liveries; they go back to these good old liveries that we've seen on. I've seen some liveries like the Senna helmet livery on a car. I've seen, the which one was that? It was the Lotus, the Formula One car with the John Player special livery. That one
Yeah,
looks
yeah, yeah.
superb. Yeah, someone ran a Ferrari with that livery. It looked superb. So this game, and this one even, was that
That looks
Pokemon or
pretty
something?
cool. Yeah, some
Yeah, it looked
sort of
pretty good.
anime livery,
Yeah.
very Japanese-esque.
And this one even, Shamin's livery looks superb. Very, very American. Okay, looks like we'll probably be doing one race today, and we do race 2 and race 3 tomorrow because we seem to be having some glitches with the game, and we don't want to have too many drivers suffering from that. But that gives all of them some time to actually practice for Monza, because we did see that they didn't get much practice in. All of them were driving at Laguna, doing their setups for Laguna, and if they can get that time for Monza, it will make it interesting. But that's the end of qualifying now. We've got Shamim and Ravi on the front row, and the two of us, Anandit and I, are used to seeing Shamim and Ravi at the racetrack taking photographs. So they're
We're
gonna have
on
their
the
head
sidelines this time.
yeah, we're on the sidelines watching them race, start from the front row, and they're super quick in this game. But it's interesting to see how Shamim has improved so much in the last couple of months, because when he started, he was still somewhere in the midfield. But every now and again in the last couple of weeks, we've been seeing him on top, and now we see him pole position, followed by Ravi in third place. So it's Ford, it's Ferrari, it's Ford again, then it's Ferrari. followed by Abe, who's in a Ferrari again. So it looks like the Fords are having a tough time. Overall, it looks like the Ferraris are on top this time.
Yeah, that's interesting. And what do you think about this track in comparison to Monza? They're obviously completely different. I mean, two different countries with historic rivalries, but
Yeah, and Monza is so flat compared to Laguna. Laguna has so much elevation change, and like I was saying earlier, you're going from corner to corner, and through most of the circuit you're going uphill, and then in the last bit, the last sector, you start coming down again till turn one, and then you start climbing. So Monza, on the other hand, is just flat. There's a sector where you go a little bit downhill and then come back up, but otherwise it's just flat, and it's really high speed compared to Laguna. So, but in the meantime, we're off, and it's a standing start this time. It's a long time since we've done a standing start, but it looks clean so far. Ravi's taken the whole shot, and he's jumped into the lead. He's ahead of Shamim. Shamim in second place, trying to hold off charging Ankur, who's in third, who's past Pratik right now. But we've got Pradyumna also trying to make up for that poor start of his. But it looks like he's managed to make up some places there. He's up into fourth place. I think he started fifth, and Pradyumna's managed to make some places up. But after turn one, turn two, turn three, we've got Ravi now leading the race, followed by Shamim in second and Ankur in third. It's unfortunate that Aditya Raghav couldn't be here on the grid, but we will see him with us tomorrow. And it's a 9-lap race. Laguna is not a very long track, so this race is going to be over pretty soon. Now, what's going to be interesting is everybody's pit strategies, because you're in two different cars, which means the tire wear is different. We've heard that the Ferrari chews up the tires really, really quickly. Fuel consumption is going to be more or less the same, I think, in this game for the cars. But Shamim's made a mistake there.
Oh my God, Shamim's off, completely off.
That's an unfortunate mistake. That's left Ford in the hands of Pradyumna now. He's got to do everything he can to make Ford happy, because otherwise it's Ferraris all around him. He's sandwiched between two Ferraris in front and two Ferraris behind him. It just looks like there's no Fords left anymore.
So, like you said, it may all come down to strategy and tire wear. So, let's see if the Ford has something in terms of tire conservation and longevity.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting to see, because that's what the Ford drivers were actually quite sure about. They said that the Ford is really going to be so much better on the tires. The Ferrari just chews up the tires real quick in this game.
Interestingly, that's what happened in the movie too, right? The Ford basically was the more reliable car of the two, and that's how they eventually end up winning.
Yeah, and I think that's what we're going to see here as well. The Ford there's a lone Ford over there. There's lots of Ferraris around, but the Ford does, at the end of the day, have a good chance when it comes to a long run. So let's see what Pradyumna can do. But unfortunate to see Shamim make that mistake. Tomorrow's race, not just Monza, but the one at Le Mans, that's going to be a good race to watch. Oh, and that's Ankur has made a mistake all by himself, but Abe has made some places up, and now Pradyumna has dropped down.
Lost one. Yeah, he's lost. If he wants to have any chance of winning it through strategy, I think he needs to keep up with at least 2 and 3 right now, and not lose too much time, and then maybe he'll have a chance at the end of the race.
Yeah, for sure. He can't let these guys run away, and we're seeing him pace himself actually, because again, like I said, they're working as teams, so the Ferrari guys aren't going to make it easy for him. We saw them before. We've seen these guys drive together in multiple championships, but going neck to neck against each other, so there's no love lost. But right now, Abhi Thakur is working as a teammate to Pratik Benya, so he's going to make sure he doesn't do anything to slow Pratik down, and he'll do everything in the book possible to not let Pradyumna pass. So it's going to be hard for Pradyumna, which means Ferraris can get a lot of points in the bag today. But again, if these guys can manage, like, it's a 9-lap race, if you're pretty good with fuel consumption, you could actually get all the way to the flag, but it's going to be cutting it real fine. So actually what I'm interested to see is how much fuel each of these drivers have consumed. And that's something that in this game we can do. We can see the tire consumption, the tire wear, the fuel consumption, and hopefully we'll get that on our screen soon. It'll give us a little more idea. Ooh, that's Abe who's made a mistake now. It's giving Shamim all his places back. All these boys are making mistakes at the Cox too. I told you that corner is a nightmare. Clearly, it's not just me who can't stand it. It looks like these guys can't stand it as well. But now we've got what, 3 Fords in the top 5 suddenly.
So
That's
it's
actually interesting
three.
to see.
Yeah, a couple Fords made their way back up now, but looks like Ravi has pulled off a huge lead, and first place would be very hard to contest for.
Yeah, first and second, they seem to have pulled off a little bit. Ravi and Pratik have just about pulled out as much as they need to for this 9 lap race. Although we're 4 laps in, we're reaching the halfway mark very, very soon. But right now, following Ravi, he's got just over half tank, and we are almost at the halfway mark. So I think these guys can actually make it to the finish line with this much fuel. It's going to be cutting it really, really fine, but maybe they can do it. But we've seen before drivers running out of fuel on the last corner, and it looks like this is going to be one of those races where could go down to the last corner.
Now that both the top two drivers are Ferraris, maybe they can actually turn the fuel ratio down and run a little lean. They can afford to lose a few seconds, a few tenths per lap in the interest of conserving fuel. Be
But
interesting
can
to
you do
see
it?
if they.
Can
Yes,
you
they
do it
can
in
do
the
that.
GT3 car? Okay, that's
You
quite
can
cool. I
do it
thought
in
it
the
was only
GT.
a GT2 car that you could do that.
No, you can
I
do it
never
in the
really.
GT3 car too.
I was too lazy to toggle that thing for the GT3 car. I would just drive.
Laguna may not be one of those tracks, but in some tracks, it's you can easily make a one stop into a no stop by
Wait,
doing that. So
Ravi spun. We missed that, but I just saw Ravi falling down into third place. And just as you said on the last lap, I
oh
think you put the
wow.
commentator's curse on him. I saw him coming out of the last corner in third place, just behind Pradyumna. So the Ferraris are dropping really, really quickly. It looks like the car is a real handful to drive, just like we thought. But now he's charging it. You see how much he twitches coming out of that corner.
Yeah, they do seem to be. He looked very composed all up until he did make that one spin, but pretty good recovery. I have to say.
Yeah, he recovered pretty quickly. That's allowed Pratik to go in front, but we've seen 3 Ferraris now drop out while they were in a good position in front. So that obviously shows how hard it is to drive this Ferrari. And although we did see Shamim make a mistake early on, it's put everything back in his hands, and he's able to catch up with these guys. And right now, lap 5, these guys are at half tank of fuel, so it does look like they'll make it all the way to the finish on the amount of fuel they've got. Now it's all down to Pratik to try and make sure he doesn't make any mistakes, but clearly the Ferrari is a monster to drive. And
Yeah,
Kunal,
absolutely.
yeah, the interesting thing about Kunal, and it's a good thing he's not in a Ferrari, is the teammates have made contact. Oh no, that's really unfortunate that Shamim tried a bit too hard and just nudged his teammate aside. I feel
He
sorry
makes
for
that place
Kunal.
and goes through though.
He did make that place and go through. Now they're going to have a word with each other at the end of this race. But looks like Ravi is really struggling to keep up with Pradyumna now. He's struggling with his tires. He's sliding all over the place. Pradyumna, on the other hand, seems to now suddenly be getting into a rhythm. We just saw green first sector from him, which means he's going quicker and quicker.
Yeah, that's always
He's
an
catching.
awkward moment, isn't it? Have you been in that? How many times have you been in that situation?
A lot of times. You just find yourself in this weird situation where the cars around you, you wonder how you're going quicker and the guys around you are going slower, but it's not something you complain about. But looks like Ravi's catching him pretty quickly. Yep, Ravi's catching him quickly, so that means Pradyumna's got his eyes in the mirror. Meanwhile, Pratik is running away in front. And Kunal Vinod, as I was saying before, just as he got tapped, actually, I was talking about how he actually uses a controller. He doesn't have a steering wheel. He just uses
Oh
his
wow!
analog joystick. Yeah, and he's pretty damn good for all that. And he's great to watch. He every now and then we see him having contact, but again, he's 13 years old. He uses a controller, and he's really, really fast.
That's crazy. When I just started, compete racing online, I just could not put in fast laps on a controller, and it's very easy to make out when someone's using a controller because the small adjustments are kind of twitchy.
Yeah, exactly. You'll see their car, like every corner, they don't turn once, they turn like 4 or 5 times. It's quite. And when you're driving with a controller, I don't know how he does it, but he's doing a good job of it. I remember we used to Gran Turismo 2. I was watching a video of that game the other day. I don't know if you remember the soundtrack. It's from Was it the Cranberries or something? Um, the introduction video, but it just brought back so many memories. That game was launched in what 1999, so it's been what 21 years since Gran Turismo 2 was launched, and it's just one of those iconic games. And that's actually the first time I became a fan of the Mazda Miata.
It is a legendary car, isn't it? And they always say the answer is always Miata, and that can never be forgotten.
That's the first time I'm hearing that. Hey, we're seeing someone jump into the pits. That's interesting. Shamim is jumping into the pits, and I didn't imagine we'd see pit stops in this race, but looks like the Fords are starting to use their fuel up. We're looking at Kunal right now, and he's got less than a quarter of tank of fuel, and he's got 2 laps to do. But looking at Ravi, he's got more than a quarter tank, so he's easily going to do these 2 laps. Ooh, he made a mistake there again.
So looks like Pratik is pretty comfortable up front. And, this may just be 1, 2, 3, what we're seeing over here.
Could be, unless something goes drastically wrong. But we did see Ravi make that mistake, and we saw him make even more mistakes. He's dropped so much now from the back of Pradyumna's car. And Ravi is a really, really quick driver.
He had to have made a big mistake because he's now 7 seconds off second place.
Yeah, and interesting to see that Shamim had to make a pit stop there, because the other guys are easily going to make it to the finish line. And that's what I said about this game, and you were right. These guys have probably tweaked their fuel consumption, whereas Shamim hasn't really consumed all his fuel. He ran his car quite rich, I think.
Yes, so I guess that's what it was. Maybe some people are running a bit leaner and then sacrificing outright speed for one less pit stop. I guess that strategy paid out in the end if that's what they did.
Yeah, it's on their last lap, and you see it says 3 for fuel, which is not very comforting, I can imagine. That's Kunal, he's diving into the pits. He was definitely not going to make it. Yeah, he's starting it tight on fuel. Oh, Shamim all by himself!
Oh, wow.
He's made so many mistakes in this race, Shamim. Is so unfortunate because he could have easily won the race. He started on pole, made a mistake, but he could have just held on to it. But that's really unfortunate. Meanwhile, it's allowed Pratik to actually come from 4th or 5th to now take the lead and be really comfortable. Prads is trying hard, but it's going to be hard. There's just 3-4 corners left. And it looks like it's an easy job for Pratik unless he makes a mistake.
And the last 3 corners are kind of...
Oh, I had my mouth there. Well, it looks like he made it through. So then it's Pratik easily in the lead, unless he makes a mistake on the last corner, and we have seen him once guys do it.
He has enough of a gap to lay off and just post past.
Yeah, that's it. That's Pratik Benya who wins race 1 for Ferrari. Pradyumna Prakash in 2nd place for Ford. Ravi Kiran Visa in 3rd for Ferrari. Kunal Vinod. Oh, what? Oh, did I speak too soon?
That was Ravi again.
That was Ravi spinning all by himself. And Kunal even made a pit stop. I can't believe Ravi has made so many mistakes in this race, and he's lost it all he went from 1st to 3rd, and now he's 4th. And Kunal, you see him using his joystick to go left.
He's pretty happy over there.
Oh, and Shamim must be kicking himself for that mistake he made on the last corner of that previous lap, because that was a gift for him, that position from Ravi there.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, I honestly wasn't expecting so many mistakes on this track. I know it is a track where you can make a mistake or two, but this is a lot of top drivers giving out, top 5 positions.
Yeah, it's we saw Ravi make a mistake. We saw Abhi Thakur make a mistake. He's crossing the line now. We saw Shamim make a mistake. We saw the Wildest Monk, he made a mistake. So many guys made mistakes. Anyway, that's the end of the first race. Tomorrow we will bring you race 2 and race 3. The winner of race 1, Pratik Benya, followed by in 2nd place, Praj Prakash and Kunal Vinod in 3rd. Great job by the 13-year-old Kunal Vinod. But it's just the beginning of this championship. 2 more races to go. Ladies and gentlemen, do join us tomorrow for the penultimate round in Monza, followed by the grand finale in the Circuit Lasat at Le Mans. Until then, thank you very much, Anandit. Thank you for joining me today, and
Thank you,
we will see
Aditya.
you all tomorrow. See you.